Okay, we're going to talk about sea stars. The echinoderms are made up of the sea stars and the sea urchins. When we look at them on our genetic cladogram, we're dealing with ectoderms here. Move my little thing up there. The ectoderms are the closest related to the chordates. In fact, their early stages of embryo are identical to chordates' early stages of embryo. Here are a couple of their characteristics. They are all, for the majority, radial. There are a few bilateral forms, meaning a right and left half. Radial means there's many, many ways of cutting it into two equal, identical parts. They have a true coelom, a body cavity. They have a through gut, that means a mouth and an anus. The body shape is variable, but they have no head or cephalization. Their circulatory system is pretty poorly defined. They move through a water vascular system that's kind of hydraulic, and it basically uses water in this system to move things around. And these are the first group of deuterostomes we're going to look at. And that was a mutation that occurred so that the embryo formed, instead of the mouth first, like in the protostomes, it formed the anus first. So we'll start with one group of sea stars called the brittle sea stars. And here these guys are. Now, the brittle sea stars are extremely active. They move around, crawl around. You can pick them up, and they'll crawl around in your hand for a few moments. But as they crawl around outside of the water, they have to expel water to move themselves around. And eventually the water vascular system shuts down because it's empty and they can't move again. But underwater, they can move. These are very predatory, interesting animals. They can regenerate if something bites off one of their rays. They can regenerate. Then you have the more common sea stars, the ones that most people think of, like this guy right here. Usually have 5 sections. Top side tends to have that bony, spiny plate on the top, and then on the bottom, they've got the little tube feet here and stripes that connect to the water vascular system for moving around. And here is the mouth that leads to the stomach. Let's see. Here is the water vascular system. You have this one pore on the top called the madreporite. That means mother pore. And water enters the water vascular system here. It fills up this little ring canal and down through these radial canals and connects to tube feet. And then it uses that water to flex the tube feet so that it can move or locomote. Here's another drawing showing there's the ring canal under here, radial canals to tube feet. This would be digestive glands. In each ray, they have this big series of digestive glands that are attached to the stomach up in here. And you'll also find the little gonads. Now we have, let's see if I can find a good, here's our first little dissection part. You can see the little madreporite. I have a better picture of it a little bit. The pyloric cecum, or ceca, are the digestive glands. And then the gonads are a kind of a darker little red or yellow, rather, set of structures that you can see here. And they usually lie under the pyloric cecum when you do the dissection. Here is a dissected one. And you can see the little hepatic or pyloric cecum or digestive gland. These are all synonyms. You have gonads. Here, as you can see, the little, now this one is not that mature and ready to start breeding yet, and they do have a breeding season. Up here, it's really hard to tell the stomachs apart when you pull one of these guys open, the pyloric stomach versus the cardiac stomach. And all that means is the cardiac stomach is nearest to the pumping organ, and the pyloric stomach is separated from that. Let's look at the outside. You can see on the outside, you can see these little tube feet and this is the mouth. And they eat. For instance, if they eat a clam, they will basically push their stomach out of their mouth inside the little, they'll pry open the clam, put their stomach inside the clam and digest it there. The area with all the tube feet that help it move are called the ambulacral grooves. And you can see the individual tube feet there. Let's see. Here's another dissection that kind of will show you the stomach a little bit better. Trying to organize this material here, unless you're very good at dissections of these guys, is kind of difficult. Would like to show you a madreporite. There's the madreporite right there. It's just this larger thing with a little pore in it. You can see it on this guy as well. Now we do have a model of this organism which we would look at in lab. And again, the madreporite, mother pore, that enters into the system. It's filled with water, goes to the ring canal, down to the radial canals and the tube feet. There's a digestive gland, your gonads. Some other types of echinoderms. There are the sea urchins. Now, sea urchins are a delicacy in Japan, and chefs have to train for years to prepare them, because if you don't prepare them right, they will poison the person that eats them, because they have toxic glands in there that produce toxins. And in the process of trying to cut them open and prepare them, if you don't do it just right, you will release the toxins into the meat and you will die of the neurotoxin. Other types of sea stars you're probably familiar with, maybe a sand dollar. These are commonly sold in gift shops and nature shops, especially near beaches. And that's all we've got with the echinoderms.